for whoever's watching this content, thank you so much. Scotty and I wanted to put something out there quite quickly, just in regards to the AI training, the free AI training that the government announced yesterday on the £4.1 million PwC platform. That you probably would have started seeing people talk about LinkedIn over the last couple of days. And I put a post out about, that's great that there's something out there now for businesses and for people. It's free. People can start upskilling themselves, etc. But it's perhaps not the silver bullet that some people might think potentially it is. So I wrote a post on it and I got lots of great responses and challenges and feedback. And Scotty was one of those people that kind of said, I've done some work on this too, and this is my view. So we wanted to put a little video together. So I think that kind of summarizes it, Scotty, right?
Definitely. Yeah. We appear to be on the same page as well. Like you say, there's a lot of, I think I described it well earlier when I was talking to someone. Social media and the news wheel at the moment seems to be very much in celebration mode. And when that happens, sometimes people don't really dive much further than the headline. We can see these things, and yes, the government have said they were going to do this and we want to upskill 10 million workers in AI by 2030. But it's not until people that are in the know, like people like yourself and I, we go in and dig in and have a look and actually see what have they put out there. You can see the cracks a little bit, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. And we'll certainly, I've logged into the platform. I've been having a play around today. So we will share that on the screen share. So if you haven't logged into it yet, you can also see what that looks like. And potentially for me, it doesn't seem like there's been much learning science or expertise that sits behind it, because there is multiple barriers to the average Joe accessing any content, and an assumption that it's that we all learn through e-learning as well. So these will be some of the things I no doubt we'll bat around on this recording.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of the first things I noticed when I got in and had a look. Obviously, any Tom, Dick, or Harry can sign up, which is awesome. That's really cool. Yeah. So anyone, I don't think it doesn't check that you're actually a UK citizen. So I don't know what would happen if you tried to visit it from outside of the UK. But the first thing that really struck me was I've seen all these courses before, right? I don't know if you have. What was your thoughts?
Some of them for sure. I recognise some of the vendors. You've got the Open University, the University of Helsinki. You've got the Skills Network that I've worked with in a former life, Future Learn as well. But yeah, it just, I don't know, the first thing it asks you is about the pathway information, right? Which is very high level. So I can imagine, most of the people that will be logging into this platform will be people that aren't confident with AI, perhaps want to give it a go, or perhaps are a bit scared in the whole narrative that AI is going to take your job and, job displacement and that kind of stuff, and want to be able to kind of say, I've got some level of understanding when it comes to this technology. So it gives you kind of three options, kind of beginner, manager, leader, and then kind of AI expert, I suppose. So I went on the beginner, just to kind of hopefully would be the catch-all for most people there. And I was presented with a number of questions, which weren't, but maybe 5 questions that weren't very specific, didn't really capture my preferences for anything, but that's okay. We've got to be high level. But then when I went into the platform, it's a bit of a hodgepodge of data, critical thinking, computational thinking, which I wouldn't say was beginner. I was expecting more like, what is a large language model? What is generative AI? Let's look at it. Let's help you think about what does that mean for your personal life or your professional life. So I don't know if you got kind of the similar vibe.
I got very similar, yeah. And they were the bits I was looking for. I did the same. I went in and I was like, right, I played first. I was like, I'll tick all the boxes to say I'm a pro. And then
Okay,
obviously
cool.
everything it threw at me was like paid for Coursera courses.
Yes.
And I was like, whoa, there's a sting in the tail. Like there's nothing here free for me, but let's now play with it with the people I want this to help with. So the people, like you say, the ones that are nervous, but they're self-starters, they're curious, they've gone out, they want to learn what is possible. So they've logged in, they've said they're a beginner. One of the first things I noticed there was, if you're not agriculture, if you're not construction, if you're not creative industries or transport, you're just other.
You're other,
That I found really interesting. That echoes, because it aligns exactly with the UKRI, so Innovate UK's Bridge AI priorities. And in the UK, they are what the UK deems as maybe underserved criteria
Okay.
for
Yeah.
AI usage. So there was
Mhm.
a massive funding round middle of last year. And I think perhaps some of that funding has gone towards this, and that's why it's on those parts.
Right. Okay.
So I did those, told it I was a beginner, and again, I felt very similar when I looked at it because it calls it a pathway, but it's not very clear. The courses are that they don't hand off to one another. They're from different vendors as
Uh-huh.
well. So every vendor is going to have their own kind of spin and say on this, and that again worried me because with AI, something that's really interesting with AI is compared to lots of other technology and new things and skills and stuff that come through, usually stuff comes from the top down. Businesses adopt something, and that technology might be something that's been out in the wild for a long time. Not necessarily in the wild, but big businesses, big corporations have had access to it, or military have had access to it. Then
Yeah.
it filters down to us. AI is in reverse. AI is, as the general population, I mean, you look at like 800 million people use ChatGPT
Yeah.
actively. Yeah, they're using it for things like how do I make a meal out of what I got in my cupboard and all the, but they're coming into the workplace now, upskilling themselves, and workplaces aren't ready for these people to be upskilled.
Yeah.
This is going to aggravate that problem because even if people do use it well, and they go in and say, this is fantastic. I've gone in, I've learned how to use Gemini for everything that I need to do because that's the Google stuff that I looked at and I like it. I go into my workplace and tell my workplace, and the workplace go, yeah, but we don't use Gemini.
Exactly.
Or someone goes in and is really proud of what they've learned and achieved, but they go into their workplace and tell their boss, and their boss has no idea what they've done and almost belittles it for them and knocks the wind out of their sails, where they go, well, what was the point, right?
Yeah. 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 What's the strategy behind it, right? What's
Mm,
the direction? What's our Northern Star in regards to what good looks like rather than scattergun? And
yeah,
absolutely right.
yeah.
And I've literally just got a post in front of me on LinkedIn right now from Zishan Asraf. And Zishan, I'll tag you when this goes onto LinkedIn as well. And he's gone through the content this morning, and he's actually picking out a lot of inconsistencies and inaccuracies
Okay.
around some of the content. So it appears to be some kind of issue around accuracy and quality, etc. And I don't want people to think, but Erica, Scotty, it's all right for you guys because you run AI training and speaking businesses, you're involved in this. So why would you back this? This isn't our intention at all.
No.
I think when we connected this morning, and certainly my post this morning was, and I got a few people to read it from my marketing lady. I was like, can you read this, please? So it doesn't come across as defensive or threatened. Because very clearly I wanted, and I know you were on the same page, to say this isn't the goose that's laying the golden egg. And I don't want organizations to go, oh, it's okay, that kind of AI training budget or strategy budget or adoption budget, we don't need to worry about that anymore because the government's going to take care of it on their AI platform. Yeah, massive gaps in regards to what
Mm.
organizations need versus what's on the platform, right?
I had some really interesting feedback come through just before we got online from one of our associates.
Uh-huh.
Our associates that we work with are not. Our associates was really important for us. They're not techie people. They're people that
Yeah.
work in all other spheres of life that we've taught how to use AI. Because it's nothing
Nice.
better than if you work in HR, you want a HR person to teach you how to use AI. You don't
Absolutely.
want a techie person to teach. So we've been doing that. So one of our associates got through to me. He's yeah, I had a look. Initially, he thought, yes, this is really cool. Actually got on there and thought the website feels messy.
Yep.
There's lots of free courses. So he registered, did his personal pathway, and then all the free courses that he was looking at had actually disappeared. It was a pile of random pay for stuff,
Interesting. Yeah.
Python, Azure, stuff that he didn't care about because he was like, well, I'm an everyday person. I want to
Yeah.
know how to use AI. I don't want to be a programmer. And when you look at the providers of this, you've got your Microsoft, your Google, your Azure. They've all got something to kind of sell. They've got skin in the game, for want of a better word, right? You haven't got people on there that are actually, looking to train end users for the good of training end users. You've
Yeah.
got people on, and so there's that part, but the other part is they're techies, and they assume therefore that the people that are on the course understand a technical language,
Yeah.
and you'll know this as an educator. What's really important to break those walls down
Yeah.
is you can't use a technical language here. You have to show them that using AI and talking to AI is just like talking to a real person.
Yes.
And these companies aren't doing that. So
Yeah.
like I remember Microsoft when they brought out their first entry to AI, the 5 simple steps to be to be an AI beginner. The first one was go and spin up your own Azure tenancy, and then go to GitHub and clone a repository. And you're like, these languages are just scaring people.
This stuff's
So
just the same though. Like, should we bring it up? I've got it up here. I can bring it up so people can see exactly what we're talking
please do,
about.
please do.
Yeah, I'm just going to share my screen here so everyone should see this. So yeah, it's like it's exactly what you said. Like logged in. Oh, okay, pathway. Yeah, that makes sense. I got some recommended stuff, and then we're straight into like machine learning, data science, computational thinking. You know, there's stuff here that I was like, I'm a professional speaker in this stuff, and there's a bunch of stuff I don't understand. You know, that I would want to go and find out. And like you said, fee payable. And then you can see at the top here, I've logged into some of these, whether a mix of them being fee payable and free. And I have to log in to every single different provider's page as well. So there's those loops, those hoops that you were talking about, jumping through, those barriers. So already I've logged into this, I've had to verify myself, I've had to pick some contextual questions that I'm struggling to relate to my situation. And that might not be everybody. And then I'm kind of looking at this and I don't understand, like, NVIDIA. Okay, yeah, that sounds like quite a good title there, Basics to Gen AI. But then, you know, I'm having to log on to this, for example, and then, okay, if I enroll, that's great. But then, you know, I'm going to have to register again. I'm going to have to look at another password. So already I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 passwords that I'm going to have to remember to access this one learning course, this pathway. It's just crazy.
And there's no record then, because it doesn't link back either. It doesn't say, because you've left this platform, you can't then look back at this platform to say I've completed that course. They're not linked.
Wow, okay.
This has just become almost like a shop front for
for open AI,
training provision.
Open University, for Future Learn. And don't get me wrong, you know, some of these providers are great, but it just feels like it's rushed, curated content that nobody's kind of gone, all right, I'm a average Joe, I want to learn about this stuff. Where's my kind of, like you said, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, that makes sense to me. You're like, how can I map that into my tasks and my job role? Because that's the unlock to scaling, right? And innovation and mindset and that stuff. Yeah, this feels very like tick boxy, and it doesn't feel like there's any learning expertise here whatsoever.
No, it's tick box. They've got all the right buzzwords, but it just falls flat. And my other concern on this is obviously the cost of this, that it's cost. I can imagine somewhere where this started, this came from a place of good. It was a good idea. And what then happened is it gets handed over to someone else that goes, well, we'll run with this for you. And someone somewhere along the line has just said, oh, cool, it's AI. Let's whack a tech label on it and get all the tech companies together. And we'll just we'll put this out there. It hasn't seemed to have gone through the correct pathways of what should actually go. Well, let's consult. What do people need to learn? What is a baseline? How could we, as a country, get everyone on the same page? Like, we did it years ago. Like, we used to do things like, you're old enough to remember. You remember Across the Road with the hedgehog on the TV? And
of course, yeah. I'm way older than that. I remember Charlie Says and all that kind of stuff, so don't worry about that.
But if we were to do something like that as a nation with AI, and it was like, actually, we could bring everybody up to the same level and get everybody to understand what's a language we can use and talk, and then you build and grow from there. We're not just aiming at the niche people that are already steps ahead. What you're doing here is widening the skill gap, if anything.
And making it, we've got the AI fear and the AI guilt, and what does it mean to me? And am I plagiarizing? Am I cheating? Like, what does it mean to my morals and my values and all that stuff? You know, that's the stuff that we need to be priming people with from meeting them where they are, right? Rather than kind of saying you need to do an NVIDIA course on machine learning, I'm already switched off because I don't even understand what you're saying. So
And then how do we business back this as well? Because as a business, like you say, there'll be some people that look at this and go, right, I don't need to spend on my training now. Guys can just go and do this themselves. As a trainer, I know that when you go and work in businesses, transformational work takes time, it takes effort, it takes constant check-ins and growth and
Absolutely.
planning and building those through.
Yeah.
With this, if everybody's doing their own hodgepodge of stuff, nobody's aligned, nobody's talking the same language. Hell, different people are talking different vendors because they've picked the ones they want to go and play with.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how do you how do you use this in a business environment? Can you use this in a business environment?
Yeah,
The,
yeah, and maybe is this so maybe it's a starting point, like you said, but it's like from what you were saying about an inclusivity perspective, like that is the massive thing now for Ofsted and like Skills England and the new reforms in apprenticeships. And I'm not just talking about kind of protected characteristics. I'm talking about like potentially 40% of the workforce is neurodiverse in some way. So how do we cater to those people? Because
yeah,
as someone who's like hyperactive diagnosed, I don't want to sit through like 90 minutes of boring e-learning and ticking questions and boxes and like give me some hands-on. I want to play. I
yeah,
want to break it. I want to talk about it. I want the
yeah.
energy. I want someone to inspire me. I don't want to sit and go through this rubbish. Sorry, I'm probably being a little bit too opinionated there. It isn't rubbish. Disclaimer. It's not how I would like to learn this personally.
Yeah, it's not what's been sold, and that's the key part. There is some great content there,
Yeah.
definitely, but
Yeah.
it's missed its target, and I
Yeah.
think is the key part. I had another comment come through earlier. Someone just referred to it as just a pile of random stuff. It's like a fruit salad of courses.
I don't think that's far off, to be honest.
I quite like that. And then where they looked through, they found at least a third of the stuff they wanted to do was fee payable. And all
Yeah.
that does is just take you off to someone else's platform. It was content that, so it's almost like someone's just collated everything that was already together, but they put it in one place. But
Yeah.
people have already been doing that. If you've been curious enough to go and look for these things, you've gone out into LinkedIn and you're looking at stuff out there. People have already been curating this stuff and putting
Yeah.
it in the right places. I think that's one of the reasons why when I looked, the initial 14 courses, they're all ones that have already existed before.
Yeah.
They're all from
Yeah.
providers that already existed before as well.
Yeah.
There's nothing new here. There's nothing for the UK.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite key as well. There's nothing that it's not the sovereign skills that I was hoping for.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
There is, I'm just going to share my screen again. There is a use cases
Okay.
section, which is interesting as well. And again, I've had just a very quick look through that. I've gone into it's, if I just go back again, you'll see that the use cases, there's a specific section for it, and then this kind of industry grouped type use cases. And I was thinking,
Mhm.
interesting that who's going to be, it's going to be operations or customer that's probably going to be the volume here, right? In regards to the amount of people, the amount of job roles that need upskilled, they typically be entry level or next level in type roles. So we got 4 use cases for customer. And then when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at this going, transforming interactive narrative experiences and audience engagement with AI. So that's clearly sponsored by charisma.ai. Not sure who those
Yeah.
guys are. It's a blog, probably by the look of it. I don't understand some of this text, and I'm somebody in the industry. Like, transform stakeholder collaboration and community participation. Okay. Case study here, scanning tools to improve accuracy. All that stuff's good, but like, I just don't see how people, particularly from that entry level user that I've gone into from a learning pathway, this means nothing to me, this stuff.
Yeah. Where's the case study that says how AI changed my career?
Yeah,
Where's the case study that says AI made me feel empowered to do something I didn't believe
for
I could do
sure.
before?
For
Yeah.
sure. Like, how did it make my life easier? How did it make me kind of have a better relationship with my line manager? How did it help me
Mhm.
manage my anxiety before that big presentation that I had the next day?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, totally. And you can see all of this is sponsored by vendors, like you said. So it
Mhm.
feels very curated, vendor heavy from that perspective.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that if the vendors themselves were people that had that education first foresight,
Yes. Yeah.
or like you say, the average Joe, they're working with end users and they understand what that they've got their finger on the pulse. They're not
Yeah.
in the tech bubble.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when you're in the tech bubble, I've worked in tech for over 20 years. Sometimes, and I'll be the first to say it, you do assume that everybody's at the same place as you and sees the same things.
Yeah.
That's not the case. You've got to venture outside it. And when you venture outside it, that's where you get to really see how people feel and what they're worried about. And this automatically, just the narrative alone, if you compare this to the narrative of what media says in general,
Uh-huh.
it's already a combative on that. So
Uh-huh.
it's actually, how do we soften what we're seeing in the media to make
Uh-huh.
AI more approachable for everybody? And
Yep.
this isn't that. This is,
Yeah.
how do we make AI available to people that are probably already dabbling with AI?
Yeah. Who get it, who understand some of the jargon, who are using ChatGPT, Copilot, whatever it might be. Yeah, for sure.
Another part I tried to look at earlier, there are a couple of other buttons in there I had
Yep.
a look at.
We
So
look at
under
them.
research and events, there's one for AI skills research. I was really hoping, there's a bit in there that says skills and training gap analysis. I don't know if you've got access to it, but I get an error code on mine. So if you
Let's
go
look.
into there, I get you get the same
Oops.
error code.
Oops. We're
That
still
bit I was
fixing
looking
that
forward
bit.
to. I thought there could be possibly some really good content there. We read so many different reports and distill them for people. It would have been lovely to see that kind of all in one place.
Yeah.
But yeah, that hasn't worked for me. And then, like you say, you've got blogs and all sorts of posts and stuff on that. It is definitely, it's something. It's just consolidating stuff that was else. I don't think there's anything you can find in here.
It's like one event over the whole year.
There might be more stuff they're going to put in there. Obviously, I looked yesterday to see if there's any reviews or if anybody else was talking about this yet.
Yeah.
But it is, like we say, brand new. So
Yeah. And it might be like, let's give them the dues. It'll be a working thing, right? It will be evolutionary. It will, as AI moves, this should move. This should become an AI powered platform. Technically, you'd like to think that was very hyper personalized and specific in regards to what
yeah,
you need. So I guess it's a starting point, isn't it, from that
yeah,
perspective? Yeah.
yeah.
So if we were kind of sat with the developers of this, or with PwC, or with the education and skills minister, or, whoever, Scotty, what would be our kind of advice, our top tips? Where does this need to go, do you think?
My general advice on this is, it's not, don't throw it out. It's a great start for 10, but we may have shouted sooner than we needed to,
Yeah.
because it's almost like it just needs those extra bits in there. And with that, you need to work with people that are at the coalface. And
Absolutely.
that's really, really important. This seems really detached from
Mm,
what it needs to be. So with that, it's trying to get maybe a bit of an AI council together of people that are educators, that are working at the coalface, and
mm,
those private consultancies, people like yourself, people like
mm.
I. There's many of us about. I can think of loads of people
Yeah.
in my local area alone, which almost identifies, because there are so many people doing it, how big of a need there is for this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
by doing that and bringing that together, they could then actually curate this content a little bit better. They could
Yeah.
fill in the gaps. They could do some of the entry level stuff on there.
Yeah.
We live in a world where obviously there's AI's on tap. There's no AI in this. Like, it would be great if there was some
It's
sort of bot
ironic,
that's
isn't
gonna,
it?
yeah, some sort of bot that's gonna guide you through it and
Yeah.
really assess your needs. And you could possibly go in and ask it things that it's got it's locked down. It's got an education lens on it, that you
Mm,
are saying, well, I'm uncomfortable with this. I don't
mm,
understand what this means. And it pulls and leans from all those resources because it's grounded in those knowledge. Um, that would be fantastic to see in
yeah.
here, because then it does become something that is is primed for use, and the hurdle to entry is so low that people are going to be interacting with it that have never interacted with AI before, and
Yeah.
suddenly feel much more comfortable because the AI is helping them to use this tool. I did see, I haven't had a chance to check, I believe there's a mobile app that's come out with this as well. I don't know
Okay.
if you've had a chance to have a
No,
look
I
yourself.
haven't seen that.
The mobile app, by all accounts, is just a wrapper for the site in itself.
Yeah.
But again, you better follow and put courses and stuff on there. I have seen on there as well, there is an opportunity for people to express their own interest to add content to this.
Okay.
And it's something I'm going to certainly reach out to and just
Yeah.
say, well, I would like to focus on that entry level.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And reduce those boundaries for people getting in, because I think it's what's missing.
Yeah.
It'd be lovely to better help out where we can. And
Yeah.
I would quite happily do that in a way that I don't need my content to be branded. I'm
Uh-huh.
not like, it shouldn't be a shop face.
Uh-huh.
that
Uh-huh.
removes the legitimacy from it, I feel.
Just that,
Um,
like, people just don't wanna log into so many different things as well, and it's just
yeah,
that for me is the biggest barrier with this. I think people will just be, like, switched off, straight
mm,
away. So, yeah, if we're all
definitely.
doing it for the greater good, then here like, we've got video content as well, and it'd be like, "Here's our content," because 'cause we'd love to get
Yeah.
that in front of people because we know it makes a difference.
So
Mm.
I've got a friend who works in people growth and management, and he was saying they did the same a few years ago with employee engagement. They spent millions on research and a training hub, and unfortunately, the research told everyone what we already knew. And the training hub just never really took off.
Yeah.
And I've tried to find out more, and there's not much about it. I don't want this to be that. What
Yeah.
I want this to be is it would be lovely to be able to see. I would love to be wrong. I would love to be like, yeah, suddenly over the next 3 months, more and more content gets poured into this, and it becomes a fantastic learning hub for lots of people to be able to use, and we grow as a nation. That would be
Yeah.
phenomenal. My
Yeah.
concern is 6 months' time, a lot of people will say, or they'll be at where we're at now. It'd take them to, yeah, a little longer maybe to realize and see this and go, well, actually, it was, yeah, it was a waste. And I don't want it to be a waste. I think
Yeah.
if we've poured, as our government and nation have poured time into this,
Yeah.
let's make it something great, right?
Yeah, and let's be competitive. Like we know China are so far ahead in regards to mandating AI from primary school. We
Yep.
know in the Middle East, particularly in Dubai and Saudi, they're all over this stuff at the moment.
Hmm.
So, I just don't get why we're trying to teach AI skills. This isn't skills, by the way. This is just purely knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Why do we think we can teach AI schools with an early noughties e-learning platform? I
Hmm.
just like when you've got a tool in AI itself that can self-teach you, can role
Yeah.
play with you, can be a personal coach and tutor and trainer and teacher. Like that for me would be the starting place on this entry level, whatever. Like, let's get hands in with the tool. Let's not just do some like click in 10 questions and get an 80% right stuff, which is, I just don't, it's for me, it's tick box. It's not going
Hmm.
to value.
Yeah.
Yes, it'll be some basic information for people. Great. Like you said, start of a 10. This needs to come a very long way for us to get anywhere near the likes of Dubai, Middle East, UA, China, Japan, those kind of areas. So,
Yeah.
and then we wonder why our industrial strategy and our skills and our tech are so far behind these countries. So,
Yeah, yeah, and then you look at the productivity gap and all the other parts that go with
yeah,
that as well. Education's a massive part of this, and obviously they're looking at this to educate adults. We need to do and take lead from where we see those other countries as well.
yeah,
How do we get this into schools as well? How do we undo the 3 years of schools being told, telling children that AI was cheating?
yeah, yeah,
We've took that
yeah,
off now, and now they've said, fill your boots, go with it.
yeah.
How do we get them to understand that AI is where AI's power is don't do this for me.
Mhm.
It's, can you help me do this? Educate me so I can do this better in the future.
Absolutely.
And with
Collaboration,
that, I'm a
partnership.
massive believer in education.
Mm.
That there is, and my analogy always of this is, think GCSEs. If you were to think GCSEs, and AI is now the calculator for human language and access to knowledge, right?
Yeah, yeah,
There's, you could do geography GCSE, or you could do geography with AI GCSE.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Those AI skills are not tech skills. You're
yeah.
asking AI to help you differentiate, understand things that you didn't know,
Mm.
further studies for those that want to try harder and go further.
Mm.
This is this amazing tool that a teacher can still be at the front of the class and drive and provide all the resources that ground that AI knowledge.
Yeah,
It could be phenomenal.
yeah,
And it's just trying to think how we can do that. So yeah, there's a whole other piece. Obviously, this is aimed at business and adults, but
yeah,
there's a whole other piece yet to unpick as well, which is, how do we get this in education to make everybody know how to use this to augment my skills, to make me better at what I do,
yeah.
not do my job for me. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's more than work, isn't it? It's personal as well. So, reading a report quite recently, out of 2025, the most volume use case for Microsoft Copilot was mental health and well-being queries. It wasn't productivity, it wasn't learning, it wasn't education. It was people either trauma dumping, which we've, according to the BBC News, 75% increase of trauma dumping into AI. That's a whole different ballgame. But also like people trying to manage their anxiety and their mental health, because talking to AI can feel familiar. You can talk to it through your phone. You can, it comes back to you in that normal, natural language processing, natural language. So where's that stuff here? Like like if we're saying that most people have used, like it's on Copilot, it's been used mostly for mental health queries. That for me is, we need to get our head around that, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Not so good thing, but maybe that's for another conversation another day.
Definitely. I would agree. I think, and you compare that to stats with Claude, you compare it with stats with ChatGPT, the amount of users out there that don't have paid for accounts and are playing and dabbling,
Yeah.
but they're playing. I'm a big believer. We learn by play.
Yeah.
We learn, we get comfortable, we become familiar with something.
Yeah.
When you compare that to these courses, analogy I always use is, if I gave you a chainsaw, you're not a tree surgeon, right?
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is, way before we use that chainsaw, we're going to play with some other stuff, and we're going to do some safety briefings, and then when we do, we're going to start little and we're going to build our way up to these things, because people learn by play and learn by do. If you've got all these people out there that are learning by play and they are playing with AI and it's working for them and they're growing their skills gradually and they're building up to becoming AI power users, where's that in this? Where's the learn by play? Where's the, and I think
it's just not there, is it?
It's not.
Goes back to the point, there's no learning science here. It feels tick boxy, I guess, isn't it? So if we were sat in front of Keir Starmer right now, or his Ed Minister or whoever, I would be like, dude, go and speak to the people who know how the brain learns through play, through practice, through skills. How do people, what hearts and minds, how do they feel about AI? All the stuff you practice, all the stuff we practice at Quantum Rise, and I do in my speaking. Like, that for me is the missing trick here, and that's why organisations still need to work with us in the sector and as practitioners to really understand the impact, rather than just go and sign their people up to this, right?
Yeah, hugely.
If you're watching this video, put your thoughts in the comments. I'd be really interested to hear, have you logged on? What do you think? Are Scotty and I wrong in our kind of opinions around this stuff? Challenge us, see what you think. Maybe we'll do another video when we see another iteration of it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Thanks for watching this video, and thank you, Scotty, so much again for kind of allowing me to jump onto your Riverside account and chewing the fat.
No worries at all. Thank you very much. It's been great catching up.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you.